Hey everybody, it's Larry Schaefer here with Tercero Wines. It's backward because I'm filming myself here, so I do apologize. I don't have a tripod. I am filming you from the view from our room on the cruise that we're currently taking. This is actually Ketchikan, Alaska. I just finished teaching my class for Davis, and this week it was on grape and musk processing, getting ready for primary fermentation. It's actually really fascinating, and there's so much involved and so many decisions to be made before fermentation begins. So after the grapes are picked, what happens? What are we going to do? So much of it is based on style. There's no right or wrong answers. And that's one of the things I'm talking about in this class again and again and again, is theoretically we can create a quote-unquote recipe for winemaking, but that's not how winemaking works whatsoever. The challenge with winemaking is to come up with the best way to make it in any given year. And that's going to be a moving target. So a couple of the questions that people asked, the answers are going to be different based on your level of comfort. So for instance, one of the things we talked about was sulfur dioxide use. So if you are a natural winemaker, you are not adding any or much sulfur dioxide at any time during the winemaking process. Well, sulfur dioxide has many positive characteristics in the winemaking process. So it is an antimicrobial agent. So when the grapes come in, oftentimes sulfur dioxide is used at the crusher, whether it's white or red. And the reason it's used is, again, it's an antimicrobial. So you want to minimize microbial issues from the get-go to make sure that your fermentation takes place the way you want it to, and that other agents don't take over. The other reason sulfur dioxide is such a popular thing to use, it's antioxidative. So by adding sulfur dioxide, you're going to minimize oxidative reactions in a wine. Now, what's so big about that? Well, acetic acid, which makes a wine turn to vinegar, happens when a wine does not have correct antioxidative characteristics. Can you do it without sulfur dioxide? It's certainly possible. The lower the pH is on a wine, the less sulfur dioxide you need to add to create an antimicrobial environment. So if you're dealing with very, I don't want to say underripe fruit, but if you're dealing with picking earlier, your pHs are generally going to be lower, and therefore your need to add as much SO2, or maybe even any, is minimized. And then once it is finished fermentation, you can make that choice of whether to add SO2 or not. I'm not a big believer in labels. I'm not a big believer in making an absolute statement, and that's one of the fun things about teaching this class, is I'm not here to tell anyone how to make wine whatsoever. If you want to make wine without adding any sulfur dioxide during the entire process, I totally respect that. It really comes down to how the wine tastes at the end of the day. And if you're able to achieve a wine that has no volatile acidity, and that really shows off the character of the fruit and the site, etc., without sulfur dioxide, go for it. I have no problem with it. So that's kind of the nature of this class that I'm teaching. It's a really fun way of learning about winemaking, not by recipe, but by understanding the tools that are available to use, when to use them, how to use them, and how to experiment. Because at the end of the day, it's really not up to what anyone tells you or what any book tells you. It really comes down to what works for you. So I'm going to leave you with, like I said, my current view. Have a great night all. Cheers.